guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Kirsten and it's the start of a weekly vlog, and we're actually starting it on a Monday morning. That's pretty good for me because normally I'm wrapping it up at this point. So for those of you that didn't watch last week's vlog, I am currently reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by Schwab, and I'm actually listening to it via audiobook and I'm really enjoying this. It's a really slow moving book, but it's so beautifully written. It's very different to Schwab's other works. So if you're expecting something that's got a bit of action to it and things like, it doesn't have that at all. It does have some magic in this, but it is a very slow, luxurious story following Addie. Now we have two timelines, one way back in the past when she first makes this deal, and it's with an old god, and it's basically born from fear of being constrained, of not wanting to follow life that's been set out for women back then, which was get married, have kids, that's your life, that's it. And she's just like, no, this is not my life. She is a dreamer, she wants to experience life, she does not want to be held down. So she is desperate to escape the life that's been set out for her, and in error makes a deal with a dark god and now is living the consequences of it. And it's true, she is now free, but the price of that freedom is that everybody she meets forgets her. She cannot be around someone, have a conversation, things that last more than a door closing, because if they don't see her for a moment, they forget her. So it's a very lonely existence, and she has been living this way for centuries out of spite to the dark god, proving to him that she will survive this. And then of course we get to a point in the book where someone does remember her, and that's where I'm at, and it's really good. I'm really enjoying this story. I am a sucker for a slow story that is really richly written with its descriptions, and it's beautiful writing. So I have to admit, this is probably my favourite book I've ever read of Schwab. I think it's really well done. I can definitely see it be a 5-star read if it carries on this way. I think it's just so beautiful and lyrical, and it's just amazing. I'm really enjoying listening to it, and I read along with it sometimes as well, and it's really well done. And then in contrast to that, I started Bunny last night and I couldn't tell you what I read. I've read the first 70 pages and yeah, this is a trip. Like, I don't know even what to say. We're following our main character Samantha as she attends this prestigious school and is a writer, but she is struggling. And in her previous school year, she felt very excluded from the classroom that she's in. There's only 5 of them, but 4 of them are in this group. They call each other bunnies. It's like this really weird, almost cultish behavior that they have. And then every time Samantha submits work, they just kind of look down upon her, and she's had a whole year of it and she's just so fed up with it. But something changes about this year. This year the bunnies invite her to this after school get together thing, and it's weird. This is an extremely unreliable narrator in my opinion, because she is so imaginative and twisted, it's unreal. Like, some of the descriptions in this where she's like, oh, I just want to eat her, and she literally talks about eating her flesh, and it's just a bit like, this is weird. This is very weird. It's like Alice in Wonderland, but like on steroids. It's so trippy. It's really weird. I just can't explain to you what is going on in this book. I really couldn't. It's very unusual. So to go from something that is very lyrical and beautifully written, and you know what's happening, and it's all about trying to reclaim it yourself and not fall into the confines of being a woman and things like this, you then have this story and it's just completely different. Like, I don't even know how to describe this book. So I'm interested in carry on. My main concern for this book was, it's a dark academia book, which I don't mind. I think that's going to be really interesting, but I was concerned about bullying and peer pressure, and I just didn't want that. And so far there hasn't been any of that, so I'm really grateful for that, because I just think having bullying and things like that in a book is just so unnecessary, and this hasn't got that. It's instead got more things where Samantha is just like, I don't want to be outcast anymore, but I don't want to be rude to them, I don't want to go to this group thing, how do I deal with it? Like, she's just nervous, and that's something I think we can all relate to and isn't cruel. which I appreciate in this. So far, no bullying, so I'm enjoying it, even though I couldn't tell you what it's about. It's a very unusual book. So these are my two current reads, very, very different to each other, but I think that's actually quite good because I have got two very different things. I think if you have two similar books on the go at the same time, it can then just get a bit confusing and I can feel a bit lost in where I am in each book. But because these are so different and they've got such a different feel to them, it's very easy to keep on top of both of these books, and it's easy to fall into each world because they are so freaking different. So that's what I'm reading at the moment. And apart from that, I think I may just put up my Christmas decorations after work, because I bought a bunch before the shops have closed again, and I wasn't going to do anything till December, but I'm getting really like bored. I really want to like declutter my stuff and just have a mass clear out. So I'm thinking this week I may just use it to declutter, put up some decorations and just have a fresh feel in my room, because it's getting a bit stale, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm ahead for my filming for the week. Apart from my daily vlog updates, I don't have any major filming that I need to do or editing, so I'm actually really ahead for once, which is very unusual. So I think I'm going to use this time just to declutter the mess that is becoming my room. But as usual, I am rambling for far too long, and I do have work to get to, although it's just training today, so it's going to be a really chilled day. I think they're buying lunch again, which that works for me. Last time it was pizza, so I don't know what they're going to get this time, but I'm excited for it. Anyway, rambling. I'll catch up with you soon. It's been a minute since I last updated, but as you would have seen, I did put up some of my Christmas decorations, although I realised that I have 3 bookcases but only bought enough tinsel for 2. So I still need to rearrange the ones that are by my bed, but I'm pretty happy with this one. So I've got my cute little reindeer with my silver tinsel, and I'm really pleased with that. I think it goes really nicely with this little bit. Also, as you would have saw, yesterday I received my pre-order of Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson, and I am so freaking excited. It is huge. It is absolutely massive. It's just over 1,200 pages long, and I'm in an iron about whether to get the hardback or whether to wait for the split paperback editions, which is the editions that I collect. But this is signed and I really wanted just to start reading it now, and I didn't want to have to wait because normally it takes another year for the paperbacks to come out in England, so I didn't want to wait that long. And I was really tempted to start reading this last night, but I have 4 days off next week, so I'm going to binge read this during those 4 days, and it's going to be amazing because, let's be honest, when I start reading this, I do not want to have to do things like sleep and go to work. Like, no, I'm just going to want to binge this book. So that is my plan, and I love this. I can't decide whether I'm going to keep this when the split paperback editions come out, because I will be buying those, and whether I'll still keep the hardback, even though this is the only hardback that I own of this series, or whether I will donate it or sell it. I haven't quite decided, but either way, this is being read next week and I'm so freaking excited. Which, for those of you that don't know, I just realised I didn't even say what this is about. This is the 4th book in the Stormlight archive by Brandon Sanderson, which is an epic adult fantasy series, and it is really good. We have multiple character perspectives, and we're in this world where we're basically at war. There are multiple races, but it's mainly 2 races that are at war with each other, and these are the Parshendi and the Alethi, I believe. And basically what happened is, on the day of signing a peace treaty, the Parshendi assassinated the king of the Alethi, and so now they've been at this war. Except it's no longer really a war, it's more like we're going to try and get to these creatures which inside them have these gem heart things, and they're worth a lot of money, and so it's more of a race and a competition between the different groups of Alethi, and they've kind of lost sight of what they're working towards, and that starts to change. And alongside that, there are things called shard plate and shard swords, and if you own those then you're much superior in terms of fighting and stuff, and amongst the Alethi that's amazing, so you're seen as really high and prestigious, and there's just so much. It's a very, very complex world, but I really love all the characters in this. I think it's so well done and cannot wait to carry on with this. So those are my random little updates. In terms of what I've actually been reading this week, I've made significant progress with Addie LaRue. I have 200 pages left, which is about 5 hours left on the audiobook, a little bit less than that because I am listening to it slightly faster than just the one speed, but I am really enjoying this story. As I've said before, this is told in 2 timelines, and what's really good about it is once we meet Henry, part, I think it's 3 or 4, is from Henry's perspective, and we get Henry's history, and I really liked that. I really liked how we get that mix between these 2 characters, and it's just such a poignant, lovely story. I'm really, really enjoying it. I will say nothing really has happened in this. I won't lie to you. This is more of a story about these 2 people's lives and how they've met, and it's just really, really great. I'm loving the writing. I think it's so well done, and this is going to be a new favourite. I can tell, unless of course something happens in the last 200 pages that ruins it for me. This is definitely a new favourite. I think it's so beautifully written, so vastly different to anything V.E. Schwab has written before, but I really like it. I think it's amazing. Don't get me wrong, this sort of book is not something that I would read constantly and consistently. However, this sort of book is my favourite type to read, which might seem a bit weird, but I do like breaking up my reading with different things. But these sort of books will always get a 5 stars from me because I love how beautifully written they are, and I love a good slow moving story where we're following someone's life, and it's just so good. I can't explain to you what it is about it that I love so much, but it's just everything all together. The magic in it, the gods that are in it, the life story, the lesson that it's teaching, basically. There's just so much that is beautiful about this book, but I can fully understand why people that love V.E. Schwab's other books may not enjoy this as much, because it is so very different to what she's written before. In contrast to that, I've made a little bit more progress with Bunny. I'm now on part 2, so it's at the 150 page mark. I haven't actually started reading part 2, and yeah, I don't know. I think honestly I'm going to put this book down for a little while because it's just a bit too weird, and I never thought I'd say that in a book, but this is weird. And there's been some certain scenes which I've just been like, what the hell did I just read? Like, to the point where I said one of the scenes to my partner and he just burst out laughing because he was just like, wait, what? And it was just, it's a moment, it's something, it's just weird, and I really feel like, I don't know what the author was on when they wrote this, but this is weird. Like, our main character's imagination is so crazy, it's unreal, and you're also at that point where you don't know if what she is seeing is real or imagined. And don't get me wrong, I don't mind that in a book, but this is weird even for me. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's just dark academia in general is just not for me, because the last dark academia book I read, which was The Furies, I didn't particularly like either. So maybe it's just the genre for me, and I really want to love it, but this one is just weird. So I don't know, I may carry on with it eventually, maybe this month, because honestly I have 3 books left to read. Once I finish Bunny and Addie LaRue, I literally have 3 books left on my TBR for the month, and I haven't been this far ahead in such a long time. Honestly, audiobooks, whole big difference that it's making. It's amazing. But I'm thinking I might just put this one down for now, because I know if I keep reading it, it's gonna put me in a reading slump, and that's just not what I need, especially because I've only got those 3 books left, which means that even though I will be picking up Rhythm of War this month, I won't actually be behind in my monthly reading. So I don't want to get put in a slump, and because I have already started it and I'm over the 100-page mark, this won't actually count towards a punishment if I don't finish it for next month, because I would have at least started it and made decent progress. So because I decided that last night and knew that if I carried on reading it's just going to put me in a slump. I mean, I've been reading that since the beginning of this week and I've only made it to the 150-page mark, which just proves how slow I've been reading that book, because that's not like me at all. So instead, last night I picked up Queen of Shadows by Sarah J Maas. Now obviously this is my reread. I am rereading the Throne of Glass series. It's something I like to do every single year, but for a change, for the first time ever, I am not binge reading the series. Now this is the 4th book in the series, and because it's so late in the series, I really can't tell you what the plot's about without giving away spoilers. So for those of you that haven't read this series, I don't want to spoil it for you. And for those of you that have read the series, well then you know what happens in this book. But I love this book. It's really, really good. This is one of my favourites out of the series. Between this and Heir of Fire, I think, although to be fair that's probably going to change as I continue with the series, and I love it. We are following Selena, who is our assassin, and she's come back to Rifthold, and their war is just boiling over. All the tensions in this book are so high, you can definitely see it, and yes, it's going to be amazing. So I read the first 7 chapters last night, so that's just on page 60 I believe. So already I've made more progress with this in one evening than what I've managed to make in Bunny, and that's just mad because I could not read 60 pages of Bunny just straight because it just wasn't working. But for this, yes, very much yes. So I'm going to carry on with this, and I'm hoping to finish Queen of Shadows and Addie LaRue this week, or weekend now I guess, because we're pretty much at the weekend. Good afternoon. I have had a very lazy yet stressful morning. I had to take Poppy to the vets. She is the black and white cat that loves belly strokes that you will have seen on here occasionally, and she managed to get into a fight and the cut got all infected and it was dreadful. Honestly, I woke up this morning and it looked so bad. Like, she'd only got the cut the day before, but I was like, nah, this isn't happening. So that was a straight trip to the vets and managed to get that sorted. Thankfully, she is absolutely fine. She's going to be fine. It's just on a course of antibiotics for now. So that was stressful. So I came back home and just had a nap because I was like, that was too much. I was so worried. And then this afternoon I have just been preparing my reading journal setup for next year, which, yes, I know it's early, but there is so much work that goes into it in terms of the planning. I wanted to film it as well, so I've got to film it. Now that footage needs to be edited and voiceover. It's a lot more work than these vlogs. So I was like, the best way to do this is to get ahead. So that's been my morning. I have almost finished Addie LaRue. I've literally got like 50 pages left, and I know I can finish this up so easily, but at the same time I really don't want to, because I think I know the way it's going to end and it's just going to be so sad, and I just don't want it to end. Like, it's such a beautiful, beautiful story, and yeah, just the thought of this ending is just, I just don't want it to. It's beautiful, definitely a 5-star read. I've loved every minute of it, and I can't believe it's going to end. And then last night I made quite a bit of progress with Queen of Shadows. As we all know, this is my reread. It's an easy, enjoyable book for me, and I'm already on to chapter 31, and it's great. It's enjoyable. Everything's building up towards the war that's happening again, as I've mentioned, and we have an interesting development happening with Manon and the witches, and it's all just, it's great. There's so many politics and intrigue in this, and I just love how all the players that seemingly don't seem to come together, how they will come together, and I think it's great. It's a good read. And then I have an Amazon delivery. Okay, so last week, if you watched that video, you would have known that I was having a bit of an internal dilemma about what sort of planner I wanted for next year. Not for reading and stuff, but just for general life stuff. Basically just a diary, week to week, month to month diary. And I was really undecided on what I wanted. And I did do a lot of searching around, but the diaries I was finding just didn't have the setup the way I wanted it. and the planner with getting like just a ring binder cover and then the planner inserts was going to work out to be so expensive over the course of a year that I was just like, at the moment that's not really viable or worth it to me. So I've gone for a planner, a bullet journal again, and I'm going to prepare all of this, and I might even put that as a video on here. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see, because I'm going to be doing it anyway, so I guess if you want me to film it so you can see what I'm going to be doing with this. But this is going to be my year overview, month to month and week to week diary view for next year. So I just find it more helpful because I love planning things and to-do lists and everything, and it just makes it so much easier if it's just all in one place and I can have a month overview, especially with keeping up with YouTube videos and plans and ideas and stuff. So I think this is going to be great, and I really do love this purple plum colour. I think it's really nice. And then I got myself some more paper colours for the thermal printer. So there's 6 different colours, which we've got blue and pink, purple and orange, and then like a deeper pink and yellow. So that'll be good for when I do my book journals as well. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go edit a video and then probably just chill out and read some more of Queen of Shadows, because honestly this week's been really tiring and exhausting, and I'm just looking forward to a day where I just spend the afternoon chilling out, which, I mean, to be fair, I had a nap today so I have chilled out, but still. Anyway, I'm rambling, I'm gonna go. Good morning. So I got carried away yesterday and decided to start my 2021 diary, and I love this planner. First of all, I love the fact that it's got this elastic over it to keep it all closed, and then it is all dotted pages, and I did start penciling out the year at a glance and just doing a few, but you also get these ribbon page markers, and I love that because you do get 2, so that's going to be really helpful to be able to go straight to the week that I'm on and also have my overview. So loving this. This was absolutely great. So I had a bit of fun just setting up the first initial pages just in pencil, and then I will probably film me actually putting the finishing touches on the pages using all the washi tape and things like that, and actually making it legible. So that was fun, just planning that out. And while I was doing this, I did finish The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and it was beautiful and perfect and heartbreaking, and it was just amazing. I loved the ending of this, although I wish it would have went a different way. At the same time, I don't, because of how beautiful it was, and I love it. I think it's just so well done. This was 100% 5-star book. It's going to be one of my favourites for a very long time. I just enjoyed everything about this. I thought it was so just amazing and brilliantly written, with perfect atmosphere for the story. And yes, it was a slow story, but I still loved every moment of it. I thought it was so well done. So this is a new favourite. I thought it was brilliant, and definitely my favourite book that Schwab has written, because I just think it was just stunning, absolutely phenomenal. Loved this so much. And I did read a little bit more of Queen of Shadows, but I'm actually going to wrap up the vlog here today. And I know it's only a Saturday, but tomorrow I just plan on relaxing, editing a couple of videos and finishing this up. Like, I don't plan on picking up any new books, and this one is my reread. As I've said, we all know that I'm going to love it. We all know it's going to be 5 stars, and the only thing to really comment on that doesn't give away the plot is that Kale is an a-hole in this book. Like, he was getting there in Eravia, but it's just solid 100% solidified he is an a-hole and blames Selena for everything, which I just think is totally ridiculous. But there we go. So he becomes a character that I really don't like in this book, but again, it's still done quite well. I still like it. It's just, yeah, he's not a nice guy, and that's the only thing I can tell you without giving away the plot. So that's it. But I am enjoying this. This will be a 5-star read for me. Obviously, if for some reason that changes, like what happened with Assassin Blades, when I put it through Corpal, it's actually a 4 stars, then I will put it up here, but I know it's going to be 5 stars. It's a great book. I love this series, and the next books just get more painful. Like, it's just, Anyway, I'm going to finish this weekend, and that's pretty much it. But for this week, if you have enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. All my social media links to my Instagram, Goodreads and Twitter will be linked below. And do let me know if you've read Addie already, because oh my gosh, it's brilliant, and did you enjoy it? I really want to know. Anyway, I will catch you in the next video.